Hello, everyone. I'd like to talk about my reflections on debt and personal branding today because we talk about debt a lot, but I want to connect it, the connection between debt and personal branding. And I was inspired to talk about this topic by the outpour of concern and love that was shown yesterday after the demise of Sheikh Muhideen Bello. I'm sure we all know who he is, those of us in Nigeria, regardless of our religion. Is someone we all know very well. And while reflecting about his death, I had some thoughts and I felt that, okay, let me share it to my audience so that we can all learn from each other. As you all know, the purpose of my videos is always to share my thoughts, educate my audience, and also get your feedback on certain lessons about life. So, what I'm going to be talking about essentially today I gotten from various books I've read. I will only mention one or two of them, and my own personal deep reflections. And the first book I want to refer to is a book called How to Die by Seneca. So Seneca was a Stoic philosopher and is one of my favorite authors. I mean, nothing religious, but based on philosophy. I love philosophy a lot, and I read on Seneca a lot. So this book is on How to Die by Seneca, and in the book it talks about the concept of death. It tells us not to be scared of death. It says it is madness for anyone to be fearful of death because death is certain. The day we are born is the day we are getting close to our death. So it makes no sense for anyone to be fearful about death. And it tells us that once you conquer your fear of death, you will be able to live a good life. But if you are scared of death and you keep on thinking about death and all that, and you are scared and you are apprehensive and all that, you will be unable to live a complete life. And it talks about other principles. He has various quotes which I like. One of them is that why should you be scared of the ocean when a single droplet of water can can kill you? And he says, he who fears death will never do anything to help the living. So before you can help the living, before you can live your full life, you must have conquered your fear of death. Then the personal branding aspects. I refer to some books I've read by Seth Godin, by Gary Vee, and quotes by Jeff Bezos and so many other authors. I can't refer to all of them in this short video. And why do I want to relate personal branding with death? The reason is simple. What is personal branding? Personal branding simply means what do people talk about? What comes to their mind when they hear your name? If you hear Farouk Abbas now, what comes to your mind? When you followed me on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, or whatever platform you follow me on, or you connected with me, what were your expectations? When you saw this notification of this video, what came to your mind? That's called personal branding. Personal branding, Seth Godin also said that personal branding, no, not Seth Godin, Jeff Bezos, he said personal branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what people say in your presence is not your brand. What your wife tells you in your presence is not your brand. Your personal brand is what do people say about you when you're not there. Sheikh Muhideen Bello died yesterday. I did a post about him. A lot of people commented about the post. When I went on X today, I saw that we've had about 20,000, over 20,000 tweets on his death. Even Christians are posting videos on him. Even Christians are posting messages on him. And they said that he lived an impactful life. That even though they don't believe in his religion, they respect him as an individual. They respect his brand. They respect his candor. One thing I admired about him is his candor. He was never scared to express himself. He says what is on his mind. He speaks truth to power. So how do I connect all this together? Ask yourself as a youth, what's your personal brand? Some youth, a lot of youth, will spend so much time on social media. We spend so much time writing rubbish on social media. We spend so much time doing all sorts of nonsense. And we don't know that all these actions we are doing is building our brands. Some of us, our children, see us as irresponsible parents based on our actions in the house. When you're in the house and you're always on the phone, you're always watching TV, you're always binging on social media, on Netflix and all these other social media activities, your children are forming an impression about you. Your spouse is forming an impression about you. So personal branding simply means what people think about when they hear your name. And although we can't control what people say about us, our actions can channel through our actions. we can create a good brand for ourselves. Sheikh Muhideen Bello, for over 40, 50 years, he was preaching and he was consistent. Everybody knows him as a preacher. His brand is solid. His brand is consistent. And even in death, yesterday I was in the mosque for my Friday prayers for Jumat. The Imam spoke about him. This morning I was in the mosque for my Fajr prayers. The Imam spoke about him. And I'm sure that's the way it's going to be all across the country. People are going to be talking about him. And when everybody is talking about him, what they are saying about him is consistent. He was a wonderful preacher. They loved his messages. He was always candid. He was always speaking truth to power. Of course, he would have his flaws. Of course, he will have his flaws like every other human being because nobody is perfect. But the positive side of what people say about him will certainly be more than the negative side. And the fact that we are all talking about him on social media shows that he lived an impactful life. So you ask yourself, what's your brand? Instead of writing all sorts of nonsense, looking for videos about the guy in Equatorial Guinea or what's that country called, or watching pornography or gambling or football all the time, or abusing people, or talking about promoting people who are not worth it, promoting people who are not competent, who are not performing in office, or just writing nonsense on social media. Change your actions. It's not too late. Ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? And let your actions be geared towards what you want to be known for. If you want to be known as a political jobber, as a noisemaker, as a charlatan, as an urchin, fine, then you can continue to write nonsense on social media and behave like a nuisance, commenting on people's walls and saying all sorts of negative stuff. Then that's fine. But if you want to be known as a professional, as a responsible youth, as a good Christian, as a good Muslim, as a as a youth who believes in one Nigeria, as a youth who believes in the development of Nigeria, then gear your actions towards what you want to be known as. And when you do all this, it becomes natural to you. You don't have to pretend, you don't have to fake your brand. My brand is known. Not everybody will like your brand. I don't do videos for everybody. I don't post on social media for everybody. I know my audience. I know those I want to connect with. So I can't appeal to everybody. So some people will certainly not agree with me. Some will agree with me. Some will look forward to hearing from me. So the summary of my message today to all of us, especially the youth, is that let's take our destiny into our hands. Let's shape our brand. We don't know when we are going to die. Even I that I'm talking to you, I can die today. I can die tomorrow. Yes, it's my desire to live for as long as possible so that I can make significant positive impact in the life of Nigerians, in Nigeria, in Osun State, and to all those around me. But I'm not in control of my life. But as long as I have the breath in me, as long as I have life in me, I would continue to live my life based on my principles, based on my values, based on what I believe in. And I'll continue to project my brand. And whatever I do in public will be consistent with what I do in private. Of course, I'm not perfect. Of course, I have my own shortcomings. I'm working on them. I'll continue to work on them. But let us strive to have a good brand. When we die one day, people will comment about us. Whether we like it or not, people will write about us on social media. Somebody has died yesterday now. Muhyiddin Bello has died yesterday now. We are all saying what we know about him. And most of them have been largely positive. When you die, what are people going to say about you? What are your roommates going to say about you? What are your colleagues at the office going to say about you? What are your superiors going to say about you? What are your siblings going to say about you? What are the people in your community going to say about you? What are your neighbors going to say about you? You have the choice to determine what people say about you. And let's work together. Let's focus on making impact and on living a purposeful and impactful life. So until we meet again next week, I hope we take this message in debt and personal branding. When you think about debt regularly, it will guide your actions. It will prevent you from acting like an animal, acting like an irresponsible person. But most times, those who behave in a very crude manner is because they don't think about debt. Because if you think about debt, why would you go and steal the money that belongs to your local government, belongs to your state? Why would you go and embezzle money? Why would you go into drugs if you know you will die tomorrow? Everybody knows who are those who are into drugs. We all know ourselves. Yeah, even if you're a politician, we know the good politicians, we know the bad politicians. We know ourselves. So as youths, let's work towards having a good brand, a solid brand. And let's stop all this idleness on social media and pettiness. So I pray the Almighty God makes it easy for us to build a strong brand, to be known as persons of value and not as charlatans and riffraff and urchins. So I wish us all the best. I hope we have a great weekend. Please share your comments with me. Feel free to share this video. I also have a YouTube channel. I've not told you guys about it. It's called Real Farouk Abbas. Check me out on YouTube. I have various videos there, and let's connect and let's impact one another. So I want to learn from you as well, and I look forward to seeing your comments on my video. Have a great weekend ahead, guys.